So Christie Sides just got fired by the Indiana Fever. And the one thing I will say for Christie Sides is that, look, I don't think anyone who's been watching the Fever, like as much as there were opinions at the start of the year, a lot of negativity around Christie Sides because she clearly, like, the pressure got to her. The pressure 100% got to her because remember at the start of the year being like, oh, Caitlin has all these bad habits and let's throw players under the bus and, you know, we need more paint touches, and not even the pressure got to her. She's had no idea early in the year how to coach Caitlin. And I have to give her credit is that she actually did get better as the year went on. But I'm sorry, when you're getting paid as much as she was getting paid, and she's still going to get paid her contract, by the way. Like, it's not like she's not going to make multiple millions over the 4 years to coach basketball at the not great level. But Christie Sides has responded. And she responded on Twitter in a way that she's not wrong. She's not wrong. She tweeted, "Leave it better than you found it." And as far as the on-the-court play, like, she had... Maybe she was so bad. Actually, I'm not going to say it. It's like she got Aaliyah Boston in her first season, and then they didn't win enough games because they were so bad the year before. They didn't win enough games, though, to get out of that number one best odds, and they got Caitlin Clark. So the reality is like, record-wise, you got Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. Like, obviously, it's going to be in a better way. But I will say that the Fever, what she did do is, as far as like the morale of the team, as far as just a lot of little things, I thought she did an all right job. I thought she did the job to the best of her ability. I think she thought she was out of her depth, but I did think that. Leaving it better than you found it, she did. Whether or not that's credit to her or the lottery balls. I think it's more so the lottery balls. But in fairness, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. And like, proud of you. You made everyone around you better. And that's the thing where it's like, one thing I will always say when it comes to Christie Sides is that all for deciding to play inside out and showing there's no I in team. I'm sorry, if you play inside out with Caitlin Clark, you should be fired. That's literally like, imagine if Cleveland said we're going to run through Ricky Davis. Or, you know what, we already had Carlos Boozer, we're running through Carlos Boozer. Or, let's say, the Spurs, you know what, we're actually going to be playing. You know, Wemby, your job is to post up and we're going to have Jeremy Sohan. You're our main option. Like, obviously, you're going to get fired for that. Like, people don't realize that. You will get fired for basically doing that for any team. Let's just say hypothetically, I don't know, Cooper Flagg goes to, I don't know, Detroit. And the coach says, or even, sorry, Cade. Imagine they draft Cade and the coach says we're running through Killian Hayes. Like, it's something like that. That's a fireable offense. Christie Sides after Indiana parted ways. So, like, her response, I don't even mind it. I really don't mind the response. Like, she did leave it in a much... She think you saw Side show more potential. Coach, what are you talking about? Like, what? And I'll give Christie Sides credit, like, for morale, for team bonding, for keeping everyone's head up, for making sure the team were all on the same page, for making sure that, like, in like the mental stuff, which is as important as anything in basketball. Like, she was good with all the mental stuff. Like, obviously, they really had a tough time with all the social media stuff, especially early. And we saw what happened with the Chicago Sky with Teresa Weatherspoon, where she did a horrible job at that. We saw Christie Sides doing a good job of getting all the team being in a good position with social media stuff. So we got to give credit where credit's due for that. But like, this just sums it all up. All the people saying they should have kept Christie Sides. It's not one person who's a fan of Fever or likes Fever. It's stuff like this. The worst coach firing goes to the Indiana Fever. Started the season rough, then became the hottest team in the W in the second half. Playoffs for the first time in 5+ years. Coach Clark to Rookie of the Year and she was fired. Makes no sense. Do you want her to coach Dallas? Absolutely not. Like, that sums it up. That is that's the reaction where it's going to be. It's like, oh, you shouldn't have fired your coach. Do you want them? I will say it as it is the mellow, or it's the like 2020 mellow, or the Isaiah Thomas. It's the Isaiah Thomas phenomenon in basketball. Oh man, IT deserves to be in the NBA. Isaiah Thomas, teams need to get him. He's still a bucket. Do you want him on your team? Hell no. I don't want him on my team. No. He needs to be in the league, just not on my team. And that's the thing with all these people. It's like, man, Christie Sides did a great job. She should be a coach. Do you want him on your team? No. Do you want her on your team? Hell no. Hell no. But the reality is that, look, I don't think Christie Sides did a bad job. I think Christie Sides is the reason why that team had no chance against. I think Christie Sides did as good a job as she possibly could have done with the team, because it was more important to get this team together, forgetting about the social media crap, to stop any sort of like potential resentment towards Caitlin Clark from her inside her own team, because there was some resentment from outside it, for getting Caitlin Clark to kind of come out of her shell as a person during the season. I thought Christie Sides did a really good job, and I actually think for year one, that is more important than good coaching. But if you had a team with good morale and if you swap Christie Sides out 3 weeks before the playoffs, that team might have beaten the Sun. Like, that's the reality of it. But at the same time, you do have to say, I don't think she caused any improvement on the court. On the court, improvement was caused because of three things: Caitlin Clark becoming the best offensive player in the W, Aaliyah Boston improving improving out of the short roll and improving her face-up game, and Kelsey Mitchell deciding that she didn't want to go dribble, step back, long two brick, and she just started cutting. Like, that is the realistically. Kelsey Mitchell running and cutting, Caitlin Clark just being the best point guard the WNBA has ever seen, and Aaliyah Boston becoming the best passing big maybe ever, definitely currently in the W, and becoming like a face-up center, and maybe taking a hit to her counting stats, but improving as a player. That is why they improved on the floor. It has nothing to do with her. But I do want to say, the off-the-floor stuff, if that goes to shit, the on-the-floor product can go to shit, which we saw with the Chicago Sky, and Christie Sides did an incredibly good job with that. She left the team in a better position than... she left in a better way. The team's in a much better position now than they were when she took the job. And she's right about that. Obviously, it probably doesn't happen without Clark and Boston. But there are better coaches than Christie Sides that would not have been able to deal with the crap, with the social media stuff, the just random influx of fans, the weird or the stuff being said about the team, being said about themselves. There are better coaches than Christie Sides that wouldn't have been able to take that. And if you take the job, like if you're Stephanie White, like you're gonna get some social media backlash, no matter what. The team loses one game, people are gonna be going at Stephanie White. It's a reality. It's the same thing if you want to coach the Lakers. Like, if you want to coach the Lakers, it can be a death sentence. But if you're good at it, you can become the biggest legend in the history of sports. And that's just what's happening basically here. Is that whoever takes this job is either gonna be you're either going to be criticized, maybe wrongfully, but criticized more than your coach. But if you succeed, you are the GOAT coach. Like, if somebody wins 3 rings with Caitlin Clark, and let's just say Cheryl Reeve has won 4 with Maya Moore, whoever wins 3 rings with Caitlin Clark is going to be considered the best coach of all time. Even though Cheryl Reeve was robbed of a 5th ring. It's just the way it is.